Hey, hi all, it's anyone speaking?
Hello, I can't hear you.
Yeah, if someone is not able to hear, just disconnect the audio and reconnect it. So even same
Yeah,
thing
what
happens.
about now? What about now? What about now? I have disconnected and reset it. Am I audible now? Anything
Yeah, now it
issues?
is audible. Yeah, it's audible now.
Yeah.
Now it's audible.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Yeah, now it's audible.
Thank you. So previously, I was just talking previously also without your confirm. Nobody has confirmed me that it is audible or not audible. Anyhow, so we will start again. Actually, we are starting with we are starting with the doubts where the frequently participants has raised. Most of the participants have raised the doubts frequently that we are from the different background. Can we learn DevOps? Okay, for them, what I can suggest is that even a fresher without basic knowledge can learn DevOps. Why? Because no prior knowledge is no prior coding language or no prior knowledge is required for DevOps. Okay, except Linux commands. Anyhow, we are starting with Linux commands. We are starting with Linux command. That's why what I can suggest is even a fresher without basic knowledge can learn DevOps. Okay, so people from different backgrounds can learn DevOps. That is my suggestion to the people. So most of the participants are asking, okay, we are from MBA background or we are from some other background, degree background. Okay, can we enter into the industry by learning any particular course? Okay, so you have many options. Among them, one option is DevOps. You can choose DevOps. Why? Because there is a good demand for DevOps today. So you can learn this, you can utilize the opportunity. So the next point is that what are the advantages we are having if someone learn this course? If someone starts with DevOps course, there are many advantages for them. Okay, first point is that anyone can learn DevOps. Even a fresher without basic knowledge can learn DevOps, right? And there is a lot of demand for DevOps now, so that you can get job easily. Okay, anyhow, we are all learning courses. Okay, we are doing hard work for the sake of job only, right? So even for the sake of job and for the sake of career growth and all, definitely there is a lot of demand for DevOps professionals today. Why? Because people who are working on DevOps, so they're not enough people actually. Okay, we can say that there are no enough people to meet the desired requirements. Requirement is huge, but there are not enough people to meet the requirements. That's why there is a lot of demand for DevOps professionals currently. That's why you can go with this course, okay, and you can get a job easily. You can enter into the industry easily. So that is one point I can say. Okay, this is about, I am clearing all the doubts for the participants, which frequently where they used to ask me frequently. And one more thing is that fat paycheck. Okay, so you can inquire now. Okay, around your among your friends and all. You can inquire among your friends and all. DevOps professionals, they are the highly paid. Professionals across all the geographies. They are being paid more. DevOps professionals, they are taking more packages. Okay, we can say that's why we can. Again, Surya Sagar has texted that we can't hear you. We are unable to hear you. Is it? Can someone ping?
It's good for me.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So DevOps professionals are the pretty high-paid professionals across all the geographies. You can inquire among your friends, relatives who are working in the industry. They're being paid more. Okay, that's what I can say. And so with the help of DevOps knowledge, you can separate yourself from the crowd. Okay, with the help of DevOps knowledge, you can separate yourself from the crowd. So DevOps is going to evolve. There is a future. Okay, if you see, there is a future for the DevOps. So anyhow, you people know this. If someone having basic knowledge on DevOps, you might understand that what is the demand we are having on DevOps professionals today. So anyhow, these are the frequently asked questions by the participants. Those I would like to clear before we start the demo session. So let us start our demo session. Okay, let us start our demo session. So before we start demo session, I would like to show you what are all the services we are going to discuss in this particular course. So I'm going to discuss with you the course contents. Okay, first I'll discuss with you the course contents. Let me open this. Hope you're able to see my screen.
Yep.
Yes.
Right. Yes, we will start with Linux commands first. Okay, coming to the DevOps side, we will start with the Linux commands first. Then we will be discussing a tool called GitHub. Okay, so GitHub is a remote repository where developers use to store their code. So we'll be discussing about GitHub from the basic point. Okay. So we'll be discussing about both the Git and GitHub. Okay. How actually developers will move the code from local repository to the remote repository by using Git. Okay, how they will push the code into the remote repository called GitHub. Everything we will discuss in the in this particular tool. And next tool is Maven. We'll be discussing about Maven, how Maven is used as a build tool for packaging, for generating packages or artifacts. We'll be discussing about Maven tool. Next, Jenkins. You all know that Jenkins is a CI/CD tool. Okay, we'll be discussing Jenkins as a CI/CD tool. Docker, we'll be discussing Docker as a containerization tool. Kubernetes, okay, we'll be discussing Kubernetes as a part of container orchestration tool. Next one is Ansible. It is for configuration management. And Nexus, it is for artifact repository, SonarQube code quality checking tool. And Terraform, it is like infrastructure provisioning tool. Okay, these are the tools we are going to discuss in this particular course. Okay, we'll be starting with Linux commands, then one by one, we'll be covering one by one. So all these tools I'm going to cover for this particular course only from the DevOps side. Okay, apart from these tools, we are also having AWS Cloud. We'll be discussing AWS Cloud. Okay, so let me show you what are all the services we are going to learn from the AWS point of view. When we see this AWS, we have some. I have listed out some services which we'll be discussing in this particular course. Let's have a look. You see here, we are going to discuss about the services like EC2 instances. Okay, we'll be discussing about the service called EC2 service, Elastic Compute Cloud, S3, Simple Storage Service, IAM, Identity and Access Management, Elastic Load Balancer, Auto Scaling, VPC, Virtual Private Cloud, and the next one, Route 53, RDS, Elastic Beanstalk, Cloud Trial, SCS, SQS, SNS, CloudFormation, CloudFront, CloudWatch, AWS Lambda. So there are many services. There are many services in the AWS Cloud. Closely more than 250 plus services are there. There are many services in the AWS Cloud. More than 250 plus services are available. So from those services, we are going to discuss only these 17 services because these are the services most of the clients use. Okay, we use in the development of AWS cloud projects. So these are the services we'll be learning from the AWS point of view. Okay, these are the 17 services I'll be discussing with you. And apart from this, I told you that DevOps tools also. Okay, so DevOps tools, as I told you, that we are going to discuss like Git, Maven, Jenkins. We'll start with basic Linux commands first. Why? Because Linux commands are the basic thing. Okay, if you don't understand if you are not aware of Linux commands, we cannot work with the other tools. Like suppose if we want to install any tools like Maven, Jenkins, Docker, Kubernetes, whatever it is. So everything will work. Most of the times we will work on Linux operating systems. That's why we'll start with basic Linux commands. Then we will go for one by one. Okay, Maven, Jenkins, Docker, Kubernetes, Ansible. Similarly, we have Terraform, Nexus, SonarQube, and all these tools. So these are the contents. These are the course contents. Okay, which we are going to discuss from this particular course. Let's have a demo. On actually, people need to understand what is this DevOps and all. Most of the people don't have an idea what is actually a DevOps and why we need to learn. What is the necessity of learning this DevOps course? So for that purpose, I'm going to give you a clear idea. I'm going to give you a clear idea on what is DevOps and all. So let's understand. Actually, DevOps is single. Actually, we are calling DevOps as a single word, but it is a combination of two words. Actually, we are calling as DevOps, but it is a combination of two words. One is Dev plus Ops. So there are two teams involved here. Okay, since there are two teams involved, one is development team, other one is operations team. Okay, try to understand. DevOps is a single word, but if we split the word into two parts, there are two teams involved here. One is development team, other one is operations team. So let's have an understanding what is actually why this DevOps word came into the picture and why this DevOps team why the DevOps team came into the picture. Okay, let's understand. So usually, usually we know about SDLC, right? SDLC, software development lifecycle. Suppose before we start any project, okay, before we start any project, definitely we'll go for some lifecycle, software development lifecycle. We will choose one software development lifecycle. Almost all the companies will have this SDLC. Today, you see, if we observe, most of the industry is using implementing Agile methodology. Most of the industry is implementing their projects in Agile methodology. And we all know about previously a decade back, okay, we were implementing the projects in waterfall model. So what is this waterfall model, Agile model and all? They are called software development life cycles. So suppose if we want to implement a project, definitely we require some software development life cycle. We require a software development life cycle to implement a project, definitely. So for that purpose, we are implementing, we are choosing one model. So in software development lifecycle, previously we were implementing waterfall model. There are some drawbacks in the waterfall model. Even 10 years back, even a decade back also, we were implementing this waterfall model. And we found some drawbacks in the waterfall model. That's why we are now going with Agile model. We are implementing Agile model. Let's understand what are the drawbacks that are present in the waterfall model. First, try to understand what do you mean by waterfall model? What happens in the waterfall model? What type of methodology we will follow in the waterfall model? See, whatever the model is, either waterfall or Agile, whatever the model is, we'll be having some steps. First, we'll go for requirements gathering. Try to understand here. We're talking about waterfall model, and we'll be discussing an example for understanding this waterfall model. Consider ICICI Bank is there, or some HDFC Bank, LIC, Life Insurance Corporation, or some organization is there. In this example, we are taking ICICI Bank. We are assuming an example of ICICI Bank. Consider ICICI Bank is required within software. Is required. It is in a need of net banking software or whatever it is, some application it requires. ICICI Bank requires some application. So ICICI Bank met with the Infosys. ICICI Bank connected with the Infosys, and for the application which is required. Then once ICICI Bank met with the Infosys, so immediately Infosys asked the ICICI Bank that what are your requirements. So Infosys will try to collect the requirements from the ICICI Bank. This particular step is called requirements gathering. So here, can you tell me who is client here? Who is client here? ICICI Bank is in need of some internet banking application, and ICICI Bank is connected with Infosys. And Infosys asked, what are your requirements? Please give me your requirements for developing the software. Who is client here? Who is client and who is software company? We all know very clearly that ICICI Bank is the client. ICICI Bank is the client and Infosys is the software company. So Infosys will collect the requirement. That is called requirements gathering. What type of requirements it will gather? We'll understand. What requirements it will gather? So Infosys will definitely ask the ICICI Bank that what are our requirements? What are requirements? So ICICI Bank will give sample. It will show some sample prototype, sample model. Like we require some internet banking application like HDFC. We require some internet banking application like SBI. Okay, we need some application like SBI or HDFC, but we need some changes. We need some changes in the application. Definitely, they'll give some prototype to the Infosys. So definitely Infosys has collected some requirements. Consider Infosys has collected some requirements. And the next phase, what happens? The next phase is called design phase. Once the requirements are collected, then we'll go for the next phase called design phase. What happens in the design phase? In the design phase, Infosys will start working on. Infosys will start working like the deciding what technology we are going to use, whether we can develop this in the Java or whether we can develop this application in .NET, what kind of databases we are going to use, whether we can use Oracle, MySQL, what kind of databases we can use, what kind of front end, what kind of back end, okay, what kind of things we can use for developing that particular software, particular application. So that is called design phase. You understood, right? What is in requirements gathering? Infosys Bank has approached ICICI Bank. ICICI Bank has approached Infosys for an internet banking application. Infosys asked for the requirements. Then the Infosys collected the requirements. They will go for design phase. In the design phase, okay, they will decide what kind of what is the front end they are going to use and what is the back end they are going to use, what kind of softwares they are going, what kind of programming languages they are going to implement. Everything they will understand in the design phase. They will try to analyze in the design phase. Then once they are decided, once everything is decided in the design phase, they will go for development. Development is nothing but coding part. This is coding part. This is coding phase. Development part is nothing but coding part. And then some testing will be, once coding is over, testing will be there. And the testing, once after testing is done, we'll go for deployment. Like that, this is the process, because this is the continuous process we'll be having. So I told you that there are drawbacks. Anyhow, these are the steps. These are the steps we will follow in the waterfall model. But there are some drawbacks in the waterfall model. What are the drawbacks here? Waterfall model is taking much amount of time for the completion. Consider waterfall model is taking 2 years. It is taking 2 years for the entire project to complete. Why it is taking much time? Why it is taking much time? Let's understand. So they are implementing their project. Consider if we implement our project in the waterfall model, definitely it is taking much time. Why? Because waterfall model is having some drawbacks. Waterfall model is having some drawbacks. Once requirements are collected, you see, there are some drawbacks in the waterfall model. Try to understand what are the drawbacks. What are the drawbacks we have in the waterfall model? Let me open some application called ICICI Bank or something else. Consider this is the net banking application. Okay, this is the net banking application. If you observe carefully, here we are having different modules. In this particular application, not only this, okay, any particular application will be having different modules. Like you see, what are the modules here? In this ICICI Bank, ICICI Bank net banking application, personal banking is one module. Okay, personal banking is one module. NRI banking is another module. Business banking, business corporate banking. Like that, we have different modules. Okay, we have different modules. So in the waterfall model, what they will do is they will give all the requirements at a time, and they will start developing on all the requirements at a time. Okay, in the requirements phase itself, Infosys will collect all the requirements. Okay, Infosys will collect all the requirements for all the modules at a time. So they will start developing all the modules at a time. Okay, and so that is why what happens here, there is a drawback you can understand. Once they have started working on all the modules, consider the requirements team has taken some 3 months of time for collecting the requirements. Who will collect the requirements? Infosys is collecting the requirements, but there is a team. There will be a team for collecting the requirements. So the requirements gathering team, consider it will take around 3 months of time for collecting the requirements. Then what happens for those 3 months of time, the remaining teams here, like design team, development team, testing team, remaining all the teams will not be working anything. Okay, they will be ideal. They'll be sitting ideal. Remaining all teams will be sitting ideal, and it is like wasting time only, right? It is like wasting of time only. So once they have collected the requirements, they have worked for 3 months. Those 3 months, all the remaining teams are waiting. They will not be doing any work. So once that requirements team has given the work for the design team, now the design team is going to work for, consider the design team is going to work for 2 or 3 months. So during that particular time, all the remaining teams will be sitting ideal. Why? Because you see here, requirements team is taking 3 months. For those 3 months, all the remaining teams will be sitting ideal. Consider design team is taking for 2 months. For these 2 months, all the remaining teams will be sitting ideal. That means these remaining teams will be sitting ideal for 5 months. Why? Because requirements gathering is taking 3 months, design is taking 2 months. So for that 5 months of time, all the teams are sitting ideal without any work. This is one kind of drawback. And one more thing is that once the requirements are collected, they are freezed. Requirements are freezed. Once the requirements are collected, they are freezed. That is one drawback. But we are avoiding those drawbacks. We can avoid those drawbacks in the waterfall model by implementing Agile model. We came to know that there are some drawbacks in the waterfall model, and it's better to start Agile model. There are some advantages when compared to the waterfall model. What are the advantages we are having? You see, Agile model is like an incremental model. So here software is divided into modules. It is like an incremental model. First, they will start working on one module. They will not go for collecting all the requirements at a time, as I shown you. So here we have many modules, like they need to develop application for these modules, like personal banking, NRI, business, this kind of modules they have to develop for this kind of modules. First, they will start working on collecting the requirements for personal banking. So definitely they will start working on personal banking only. So requirements team will collect requirements only for one module, and they will forward the requirements to the design team. So design team will finalize the requirements, and then the development team will start working on it immediately, coding part. So like that. So all the teams will be working simultaneously. So once the requirements team is working on first module, collecting requirements for the first module, okay, only that time the remaining teams will be sitting idle. Once requirements are collected for one module, design team will go into the work. Then once design team is completed, then development team will go into the work. Okay, like all the teams. Once requirements team has forwarded that requirements for the first module, requirements team will be working on second module, collecting requirements on the second module. So like that, all the teams here will be simultaneously working. No team will be sitting ideally. All the teams will be working simultaneously. And one more advantage here in the Agile model is that if client make any changes, if client wants any changes in the software, it can be easily done. Why? Because we are going to implement the Agile methodology. We are implementing Agile methodology. It means we are not finishing the entire software by collecting the requirements. Okay, up to date, for every 1 month or for every 2 months there will be a release. For every 1 month or for every 2 months there will be a release. The client will be looking into the functionalities. So if anything needs to be changed in the functionalities, definitely client will give the update, and development team will work on it. They will change the they'll go for changes. So it is very easy for going for the changes in the application also. So that kind of flexibility is not available in the waterfall model. Why? Because once entire development is over, if client comes with some new requirements, why? Because we are collecting all the requirements for all the modules. And once client comes with the new requirements will be freezed. We cannot go for modifying the requirements in the waterfall model. So there is a drawback in the waterfall model. That's why we are going with Agile model. That's why we are choosing the Agile model. And Agile model is called what? Agile model is also called as incremental model. Here software will be divided into different types of modules. Like the same steps we are following here also in Agile model, but so we are releasing this for every 15 days, or for every not for every 15 days, or for every 1 month, or for every 2 months. So we are in touch with the client. Client will be looking into the functionalities. Okay, he will be updating if any changes needs to be done. So we are updating that. So finally, in the last, client will not come and say that these functionalities needs to be changed. Why? Because we are updating frequently. We are updating everything with the client frequently, so that Agile method, it is the best methodology we are implementing. This is the best methodology we are implementing. So to complete the project, to finish up the project in a short span of time. Okay, so we can complete. See here, we are assuming that waterfall model will take 2 years of time. Consider waterfall model will take 2 years of time for completing the project, for finishing up the project. And when we implement the same by using Agile model, definitely we can do it in 1 year. Most of, say, half of the time we are reducing. We can do it in 1 year. Half of the time we are reducing, right? So still what happens? So by using Agile model, we are finishing up in 1 year. But clients are not satisfied. Clients are not satisfied with this. Still clients are expecting that shall we complete it in 6 months, or shall we complete it in 7 months? Still they're asking for reduction in time. Okay, anyhow, by using Agile methodology, by implementing Agile methodology, we are finishing up in a short span of time only. But clients are not getting satisfied. So for that purpose, most of the software companies have done research on it. Okay, clients are expecting that we are finishing in 1 year, but clients are expecting, can we done in 6 months? Can we done it in 6 months, or can we done it in 7 months? Like that, they're asking. Yes, is it possible? Is it possible that so most of the software companies have done research on it, whether it is possible or not? Yes, they have identified a reason. They came up with a reason. Software companies, most of the software companies have done research on it, and they came up with a reason that there is a gap between a development team and operations team. Still, by implementing Agile methodology, we are taking 1 year of time. Why we are taking 1 year of time even after implementing Agile methodology? So after doing research by some software companies, they have identified a reason. What is the reason? There is a gap between the development team and operations team. They have identified that there is a gap between development team and operations team. So what is the gap? We will understand now. What is that gap? We will understand now. So since there is a gap between the development team and operations team, these DevOps tools came into the picture, and the DevOps engineers came into the picture. There is a gap between development team and operations team. Okay, there is a gap between development team and operations team. So DevOps tools came into the picture. DevOps tools came into existence. And
No,
DevOps.
sorry for the interrupt. Here, what is operations team will do?
Yeah, I'll explain it. We are going with that only. So actually, in the software company, in any company you take, we will be having many teams, right? We'll be having development team, we'll be having some data, we'll be having some operations teams. So like coding like system admins will be there, and some deployment teams will be there. Okay, so system architects will be there. There are many teams will be there. We know that there are many teams will be there, but we are categorizing all the teams. Okay, we are categorizing all the teams into two parts here. So consider we have some system admins, operations team. In the sense here we are having system admins. Just consider system admins in the sense what, suppose if we require some Oracle latency software, okay, to whom we will contact, we will definitely go for system admin who is having the skill of installing Oracle latency. So consider we have a development team and operations team. So development team is in a need of some software. Development team is in a need of some software like Oracle latency. So what happens? Development team will approach the operations team. Okay, development team will shoot an email to the operations team saying that we are in a need of Oracle latency software. So immediately operations team has responded saying that the skilled resource is not available. Development team has requested for Oracle latency software. Okay, and operations team has responded saying that skilled resource is not available. Resource is not available. Person who is having skill for installing this Oracle latency is not available. Skilled resource is not available. Say, okay, operations team has responded saying that. So now what happens? There is a gap. So we don't know when this skilled resource will come. What this operations team has said, skilled resource is not available. We are recruiting him. He will come in a week, and we will assign the task to him. He will be finishing that task. We don't know whether he can join in a week, or whether we don't know even after assigning the task he can give that immediately. So it is and this 1 week or 10 days, simply you can think it is a waste of time, right? So for that purpose, you see, if we have a DevOps engineer will jump into the action, and he can install Oracle latency software for the development team. So like, see, it is like DevOps engineer can eat away the admin jobs also. Okay, in the future, if anyone is working on, if anyone is working like system admin, okay, in a admin team and all, so they have to upgrade the skills. So if we do not, anyhow, people working on each and every platform, we have to upgrade the skills, definitely. Okay, and we are just understanding that what is the gap between development team and operations team. Okay, you understood, right? Development team, you know what is the development team and operations team. Development team is nothing but who will be writing code. Suppose people who are working on Java, they'll be writing code on Java. People who are working on Python, they'll be writing code on Python. That is called development team. And what do you mean by operations team? In our example, we are calling that operations team as system admins. Okay, system admins. Why? Because development team is need in a software called Oracle 18C. They have requested for the operations team. Operations team has responded saying that skilled resource is not available. That time, what they have said, what they have sent, what they said is that that resource is not available. He will come in a week, or he will come in 2 weeks. We will assign the task to him so that he can do it. Okay, so we have to, development team has to wait for that long time. Development team has to wait for such long time. So for that purpose, if DevOps engineer is there, he can jump into the action. Okay, DevOps engineer is there, he will jump into the action and he can install Oracle 18C software for the development team, so that development team can, okay, development team can go with that particular work. So what the DevOps engineer is doing here, DevOps engineers can push both the development team and operations team. How DevOps engineer knows to install this particular software? Yeah, we are learning a tool called Docker. Okay, we are going to learn a tool called Docker. So by using Docker, we can install a software called Oracle 18C within 2 minutes. Okay, even the skilled resource, or system admin takes some 1 day of time for installing this particular software. DevOps engineer can do it in 5 minutes by using this Docker tool. Okay, it is only for temporarily. It is only temporarily. Okay, development team has asked this software for some POC. Okay, but they have said that skilled resource is not available. He has to wait. We have to wait for such a long time. So for that purpose, if DevOps engineer is there, he can jump into the action and he can provide that software to the development team. In that way, DevOps engineers are pushing both the development team and operations team. This is very simple example I have told you. Okay, but DevOps engineers are having more responsibilities, will be having more responsibilities. Why? Because they will be pushing both the development team and operations team. If development team and operations team get stuck anywhere, so DevOps engineers can push both the development team and the operations team. Hope you all understood why the DevOps engineers came into the picture. We have just.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, so by using this particular tool called Docker, DevOps engineer can install that Oracle 18C software, so that the work will not be, the work will be in progress. Okay, without any delay. So right, this is the basic understanding. Okay, whatever the things I have explained to you is the basic understanding of what is DevOps. So that's why the word DevOps has come into the picture. This is for development team and this is for operations team. DevOps is nothing but pushing. DevOps team will push both the development team and operations team together. Okay, to finish up the project within a short span. So we are using our Agile methodology only. What happens? We are using Agile model only. But by using Agile model, if we take 1 year of time, okay, 1 year of time, clients are asking for reducing the reduction in the time, right? So we can do it. Why? How can we do it? Software companies have done research on it and they found that if we implement DevOps methodology on the Agile model, if we implement DevOps methodology in the Agile model, we are using Agile model only. But suppose if we implement DevOps methodology, then definitely we can done it in 6 months. We can do it in 6 months. It is not exactly. I'm just saying the example. Okay, if the project is taking 1 year of time, if you go by using Agile model, and if you implement DevOps methodology in the Agile model, definitely you can do it in 6 months. Okay, why? Because there will not be any delay. Okay, DevOps team is there to push everything, and there are many advantages with the DevOps team. We are going to each and every tool is having an advantage. We are having some CI/CD tools. Okay, we are having some CI/CD tools, and we are having some to containerization tools, container orchestration tools. So by using all these tools, if we use all the DevOps tools, we can do it in 6 months. Hope you all understood the basic idea of DevOps, why the DevOps came into the picture. Okay, how the DevOps engineers came into the existence and all. Okay, then I told you that what are the tools we are going to discuss in this particular course. Okay, from both the AWS part as well as DevOps tools, okay, from AWS point of view as well as DevOps point of view. These are the things we are going to discuss, and I'd like to tell you one more thing. Let me open it. As I told you that these are the services we are going to learn. Okay, these are the services we are going to learn. I have already shown you from the AWS point. Right, still, if you have any doubts, okay, we will continue. If you have, I'll give some time for questions. Maybe participants have some questions. I'm giving some time to raise any questions. Please ask me if you have any questions. Otherwise, we'll continue. You have any questions to ask? Do you have anybody having any questions to ask? Right. If you don't have questions, we will continue. We have 10 more minutes. We'll continue for the rest of the 10 more minutes. We will also see the introduction part of this AWS cloud. Okay. We have seen the introduction part of DevOps, and we will also see the AWS introduction part. So let's discuss what is this AWS. Okay. AWS stands for what? Amazon Web Services. AWS stands for Amazon Web Services. What is this? It is a cloud platform. AWS is a cloud platform. You all know what is a cloud and all. You all know what is a cloud and all. Okay, we are all using Google Drive. We are all using Google Drive. Google Drive is the best example. Google Drive is a very good example for understanding what is cloud. We're all storing our personal files in the Google Drive. For what purpose we are storing? So we are just storing in the Google Drive. So suppose if I store them in the pen drive, what happens? Sorry. Suppose you all know that. Suppose if I store our personal files in the pen drive, what happens? We may lose the pen drive, or we may lose the pen drive, or pen drive may gets corrupted. There are many things to happen. Many things happen to that pen drive. Suppose if I store my files in the Google Drive, they are more secure than storing our files in our locally. Okay, I may not lost those files. The files will be there permanently. Okay, my files will be there permanently. I'm storing where I'm storing. I am storing in the cloud. If you are storing your files in the Google, if you are storing your files in the Google Drive, it means that you are storing your files in the cloud only, right? Yes, that is called cloud. Don't think the cloud thing, but what it is. It is also a place. Cloud is nothing but a place where some infrastructure is available. Okay, if the pen drive is available with you, that infrastructure is with you only. If that memory, if that storage capacity is somewhat far away from you, if that storage is somewhat far away from you, then it is nothing but cloud. They are maintaining, Google is maintaining some infrastructure for storage, and it is providing you some memory. It is providing you some storage for storing your files. That is nothing but cloud. Okay. So anyhow, AWS is also AWS, Amazon Web Services, is also maintaining some infrastructure for various purposes. AWS is also maintaining infrastructure for various purposes. That is why we are calling it as AWS cloud. Cloud is nothing but a place where the infrastructure is provisioned and where we can utilize that infrastructure for various purposes. I have told you many examples for understanding what is this AWS cloud. Okay. So you see, when did this AWS start? Amazon started. Amazon, you see, Amazon is a company. You all know that. Okay, it is a multi-billion dollar company. It is there in USA. Okay, it is there in USA. It is started in 1995 by Jeff Bezos. You see, when did it started? It started in 1995 by Jeff Bezos. First, it is started as an online bookstore. Amazon is started as an online bookstore. It is started in the year 1995 by Jeff Bezos. Initially, it is started as a bookstore. Later, they have started with selling DVDs, CDs, videos, MP3s, and all. Okay, video games, electronics, and all the things. They rushed into the other things, other electronic components like DVDs, CDs, videos, all those things. Okay, and you all know the Kindle ebook reader. You all know Kindle ebook reader. Okay, so this company is also produces some consumer electronics like Kindle ebook reader also. But Amazon Web Services has not started. AWS has not started in the year 1995. Please remember, Amazon company has started in the year 1995. AWS, Amazon Web Services, launched in the year 2006. Amazon Web Services has started in the year 2006. That's what we need to understand. We all know that it is a large company, huge company, and it is a multi-dollar company. It is in the USA. We all know all these points, but we are just understanding what are the advantages we are having with the AWS cloud. Okay, so what does AWS offer? Availability. What is this availability? We'll understand. Availability, scalability, and pay as you go. So AWS, we are choosing AWS cloud. Suppose consider some client is there. Client don't want to maintain his infrastructure. Client don't want to maintain his infrastructure on-premises. You know what do you mean by on-premises? Maintaining some servers, maintaining some infrastructure in the company, in the office premises itself. Okay, maintaining infrastructure in the office premises itself. It is called on-premises infrastructure. It is called as on-premises infrastructure. But most of the clients today, they are preferring cloud only, cloud infrastructure only. Why? Because it is taking more cost. Maintaining on-premises infrastructure is taking more cost than cloud. Many clouds are there. We have AWS cloud is there, Azure cloud is there, Google cloud is there. There is heavy competition between all these cloud platforms, and they are providing services with low of cost when compared to the on-premises. So that's why most of the clients, they are preferring for cloud only. And what does AWS offer particularly? AWS offer, not only AWS, all the cloud platforms offer these things. AWS is also offering availability, scalability, and pay as you go. What do you mean by availability? We'll understand availability. Suppose if I have a pen drive, if I store some pen drive, if I store some data in the pen drive, I may lose this pen drive. Can I get this data back if I lost the pen drive? No, my data will also be lost. If I lost this pen drive, my data will also be lost. There will be no availability. There will be no 100% availability of data, which is also called as 99.999 something. There will be no 99.99% availability of data. If you store your data in the pen drive, you may lose the pen drive, or otherwise your pen drive may get corrupted. Okay, there is no availability of data. We cannot guarantee availability of data. Suppose if you go for Amazon cloud, if you store your data in Amazon cloud, definitely Amazon cloud is providing that availability of data. AWS is promising 11 nines of availability. Your data will not be lost. Whenever you want to access your data, you can access. Your data is safe and secure. That is called availability. And then what is the scalability? Scalability is nothing but ability to grow in the size. Consider you have the pen drive. You have the same example. We'll take the same example. You have the pen drive. You have pen drive with only 16 GB. But anyhow, our requirements are dynamic, right? Usually our requirements are dynamic. We have 16 GB pen drive, but the data is, we have stored some data. But after 3 months or 4 months, your data size is increasing. Whenever your data size is increasing, you need some more capacity pen drive. You need some extra capacity, extra memory capacity. Does that 16 GB pen drive is enough even after 1 year or even after 2 years? No, that 16 GB is not at all enough. Why? Because nowadays data size is increasing vastly. That 16 GB pen drive is not at all possible to store your data. You will go for buying some extra capacity, that is 32 GB or 64 GB pen drive. Okay, you are going to increase your storage capacity. That means you have already invested something. You have already invested some amount of money on 16 GB pen drive. So still it is not meeting your requirements. That 16 GB pen drive is not meeting your requirements. That's why you are going for another infrastructure. You are going to buy another infrastructure like 32 GB or 64 GB. So even if you buy 64 GB, even after some time, even after an year or 6 months, again you have to increase your storage capacity, right? And even if you increase, we cannot guarantee that the data will be available guaranteed. I told you, right? There are some reasons. You may lost that. Your data may be corrupted. Your pen drive may be corrupted. There are some reasons your data will not be available for you. So scalability in the sense, ability to grow in the ability to grow in the size. Suppose if you have stored some 2 GB of data in Amazon today, consider we have a storage service called S3. We have a storage service called S3 in the Amazon. Consider you have stored some data in the S3. Okay, if you store some data in the S3, then what happens? Consider you have stored some 2 GB data only. Tomorrow, if you are going to store some other 2 GB, yes, you can increase it. You can increase your size. If you want to increase it to 100 GB, yes, you can increase your size without doing any modifications. Without going for any modifications, you can. If you want to increase, you can increase your size. If you want to decrease, you can decrease your size. And we are paying only for the size, only for the amount of memory we are utilizing. So ability to grow in the size. Suppose if we have pen drive, we cannot increase the size immediately. We have to buy another pen drive. We have to copy this data to the entire pen drive, or otherwise we have to store. We have to start storing in some other pen drive. We need to keep on investing. We need to keep on investing on the infrastructure. So what I am saying is here, eliminate guessing on your infrastructure capacity. Why do we think about whether the 64 GB is enough or 128 GB is enough? We have unlimited storage. We have unlimited storage here. Amazon is providing the unlimited storage. Whatever the amount you want to use, you can use. If you want to, you are going to pay only the size you are going to use. You see, pay as you go. You are going to use only for the size you are going to use. Low ongoing cost means what? Pay as you go pricing. Whatever the size you use. Suppose if you store only 2 GB of data, you will be paying only for the 2 GB of data. It is not much. AWS is not going to charge much for the services you are going to use. Pay as you go. Whatever the services you use, you are going to pay only for those services. That is the advantage we are having with the cloud today. Suppose if you don't want to store, you can come out. Okay, you can take back your data and you can come out. It's not a problem. Anytime, any point of time, if you want to increase, you can increase. If you want to decrease, you can decrease. If you want to store it permanently, yes, you can store it permanently. That kind of availability is providing. We have the advantages like availability, scalability means what? Ability to grow in the size. You can increase your size or you can decrease in the size. And you are going to pay only for the services you are going to pay. These are the advantages we're having. And this is what I would like to discuss with you today. Any doubts you have, please let me know. Otherwise, we will close it for today. Please attend for tomorrow's session. Thank you all. If you don't have any doubts, otherwise, please let me know if you have any doubts.
I have a question here. Like
Surya, yes, please.
Yeah. Let's say in order to clear AWS solution architecture certification, is this services helps or should we learn more services?
Sorry, can you please repeat your question? I'm not getting you.
In order to clear the AWS certification, like the solution architecture certification, is this services enough or do we need to learn more services in the AWS?
Yes, I'll talk about certification. Let me show you one thing. You see here, we have a certification level. Okay, if you are able to see my screen, right? This is about certification. So suppose if you learn the services, you can able to apply for a certificate. You can able to apply for a certification called AWS Certified Solutions Architect, associate level. You see, this is the first one is basic level, AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner, foundational course. This one, first one is foundational level. Once you learn this 17 services which we are discussing here, you can able to apply and you can able to get a certification like AWS Certified Solutions Architect associate level. This is the certification you can get by completing this course. Okay, only these services will be there. Getting my points, Surya?
I mean, you guys are going to help to clear the exam. Is the my main question?
See, actually, there are many ways to clear the exam. That's a different thing. We'll discuss. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Right. Any other doubts you have, please let me know. Otherwise, we'll close it.
Sir, by the end of this session, there is any certification provided by?
Yeah, institute Kingdomtrainings Institute will provide you the certificate, but I think that will not be useful for you people. Okay, so this
Okay.
particular course will be useful to work in a real time. Okay, you can keep
Okay.
2 or 3 years of experience, and you can go for you can switch your platform. Suppose if you are working, okay, consider if you are
Okay.
working in IT
Yeah, I'm
industry. If you
working
want to
now.
switch, yeah, if you want to switch your career to the DevOps, it will be useful to you.
Okay, thank you.
Anyhow, institute the certificate will be provided by the institute. Unless and
Okay.
until you get certification from AWS, Amazon, that will not be useful to you, right? Only
Okay, no
AWS
problem.
certification will be useful to you. Yeah.
Sir, is it a paid course?
Which one?
This AWS sessions, how long it will take, sir?
This particular course that you are talking about, AWS plus
Yes.
DevOps, which I am
Yes.
teaching.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is a paid course only. We are taking. Actually, we were collecting 10K, but we have reduced it to 7K. As of now, we are collecting 7K for that course for both AWS and DevOps.
Yes, sir.
Right? Any other doubts?
Sir, can we get the recorded session for this?
Yes, for everything. Yeah, I'll share the recording session with you in the group
Documents
itself.
as well, right?
Okay. As early as possible, we'll be sharing the recorded session of this today's class with you people. Please go through it. Okay.
Yes.
Then you can decide. Thank you all. If you don't have any doubts, please go through the recorded session. Okay. We'll share the recorded session with you all in the group. Please go through the recorded session, and then you please refer to your any of your friends or relatives if anyone of their they are trying to switch to the other platforms or whatever it is. Please. Thank you all. We'll meet tomorrow for the next session.